ito yung kwarto ni Jeffrey, ng anak ko. Tapos itong nakahangir, mga gamit niya to. Tapos nung namatay na nga siya, hinangir ko lang kasi gusto ko makita yung mga gamit niya. Si Jenifer, anak ko. Itong lahat na bahay, itong tumayo na bahay na to, siya ang nagpagawa, binigay kami ng pera. Jenifer ang nickname doon, pero dito sa akin ganda. Kasi nung maliit pa siya, sasabi niya, maganda ako. Kaya paglaki niya, ganda talaga ang tinawag ko. Nasa parlor siya. Doon daw sa parlor, pinaglalaban niya yung may-ari. Naglilinis siya para malibre siya ng kain. Kasi buong kita niya, linggo-linggo niya pinapadala sa akin. Tapos, nag-promise pa siya na, pag uwi ko dito, ma, hindi na ako tatawanan nga bakla kasi mayroon akong narating. Mayroon akong kwenta ang buhay ko. Sabi niya.
JGP, isang transgender ang natagpuang patay kagabi sa Olongapo City. Isang dayuhan ang hinihinalang suspect sa pagpaslang.
Sa grupo namin, siya yung kakaiba kasi napaka-intelligente niya, napaka-elegant niya talaga. Na parang siya yung pinaka-nagdadala sa group. Circle of friends namin, siya yung pinaka-nagdadala. Siya yung pinapakinggan lahat. I mean, pinaka-smart kasi sa amin, siya yung pinaka-smart sa amin sa lahat. Kaya yun siyang pinapakinggan namin minsan.
Witnesses said a white man with a marine haircut met Jeffrey Loud, who was dressed as a woman, at a nightclub in Olongapo City on Saturday night.
Hello. Hello. My name is Meredith. Ano, I'm a journalist from America.
The body of 26-year-old Laude was found in this hotel in Olongapo City. American troops there were on a break from military exercises with the Philippines.
I first learned about Jenifer Laude through social media. I felt a connection to her immediately, just as a Filipino trans woman. So, if you can tell from your perspective, yung story nung gabi na yun, kung ano yung nangyari. Kung ano yung nakita nyo nung gabi na namatay si Jenifer.
Nagpunta na kami ng ambience. Then, nag-start na yun. We meet 3 times guy. Magkakaibang lalaki. Napunta ako sa Friends sa Pemberton.
So kailan kayo naghiwalay?
Yung last na. Yung nasa cell zone na sila. Tapos kami naman sa kabilang hotel.
So kailan nyo nalaman na ganun ang nangyari?
Tapos na kami. Nagpapahinga na kami sa convenience store, umiinom na kami ng drinks. Tapos kinokontak na namin yung dalawa, si Barbie tsaka si Jenifer. And wala naman sumasagot, both phone. Then naglakad na kami. Yung paglakad namin pabalik sana kami ng ambience malapit na dun sa cell zone. Tinawag kami ni Barbie. Yun nga, something happened doon na hinimatay or patay.
Trauma. natrauma kami doon sa nangyari.
Ipapakita muna natin itong nasa likod natin. Yan yung 5 Navy ships ng Amerika na sa ngayon, simula pa kahapon, in fact, ay nakasailalim na sa lockdown. Ibig sabihin, ay hindi muna sila papayagan na makaalis ng Pilipinas habang isinasagawa ang investigasyon ng namatay na transgender nitong Sabado ng gabi.
Reports out of the Philippines say the Marine and the victim met at a nightclub. The two left the club with one of Jenifer's friends and went to a hotel where they were captured by security cameras. 3 other Marines are being questioned as possible witnesses.
Barbie, paano ba kayo nakapag-meet ni Pemberton ng gabi na yun?
Anong gabi yun kaya kami nakapag-meet? Kasi umakyat sila sa Ambience Disco Bar. Umakyat sila doon and then 4 silang umakyat. Doon nag-meet place, nag-usap. And then kaya nakarating po sa hotel.
Tapos hindi mo na sila nakita, no?
Hindi na po, iniwan ko na po. Alam ko po yung totoo at nakita kong kasama ni Jenifer, si Pemberton.
Ulo, te, mga te.
Walang tigil sa pag-iyak ang pamilya Laude nang dumating sa Heritage Park. Ang mga kapatid na sina Marilu at Michelle, ang ina at ang fiancé na si Mark Sosalbec, lalo pang naging emosyonal habang pinagmamasdan ang labi ni Jenifer.
She was just a very natural person. She was a very giving person. She was kind, friendly to everyone, open-minded. She was just trying to live a very normal life.
This is not an isolated case. In fact, sa Olongapo, there was never a single case kung saan ang krimen na ginawa ng sundalong Amerikano ay naparusahan. Napakataas po, no? Na ng kaso sa dami na nakabinbin sa Olongapo, 6 na taong gulang, 6 na buwang gulang, 16 na taong gulang, lahat ni rape, napatay, pero wala kahit isa mang sundalong Amerikano ang napatay.
From day one that we handle this case, we already know the loudest situation. That's the very reason why Harry and I offered our services pro bono. If you don't have money, you don't have access to justice.
And what kind of a self-respecting country can we be if we cannot even implement our laws when they are breached in our territory and when a victim is a Filipino?
You know, I ask you one thing. You know, for who it's more fun in the Philippines? For the Philippine people or for the U.S. soldiers who are having everything they want with no response taken and for the cheapest money they can get? That's all I wanted to say about that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I guess a good place to start would be to ask you how your relationship began.
You know, love on the first sight is something which I have considered unrealistic. But she was even a more adorable, natural person while we met. And after 3-4 days, it was clear for me that this was the person of my life.
What do you think happened that night?
The only person who could tell us what was her intention to be there that evening is Jenifer herself. Unlike other ladyboys probably have to work that way every night, she had different chances in that. Whatever she did to end up there, it has nothing to do with what happened inside. Simply nothing. You know, she was killed on the 11th of October. October 1, we got the confirmation that her visa is granted. Here in Germany, the official wedding date was set. Her wedding dress was bought already. We are just inches away to make our both dream of life come true.
How the killing of a trans Filipino woman ignited an international incident. On October 11 of last year, the U.S. Marines stationed aboard the USS Peleliu got their first night of liberty after their Tarawa-class amphibious assault ship docked in Subic Bay. Private First Class Joseph Scott Pemberton, a 19-year-old from New Bedford, Massachusetts, eagerly disembarked with his battle buddies, Bennett Dahl, Daniel Pulido, and Sharon Rose.
Jenifer first left her apartment with her friend, Jamil. They took a tricycle to Ambiance nightclub and arrived there at approximately 10:30.
The club was a frequent hangout for sex workers known as Pocahontas, a riff on pokpok, a Tagalog term for slut, which also alludes to the former colonizers who often patronized them. The most dogged of these women, those who quickly latch on to the arms of the men pouring off the ships, are usually transgender, but the foreign soldiers rarely learn that.
Approximately at 10:45, Private First Class Joseph Scott Pemberton entered Ambiance with 3 other Marines.
The women had been working since the soldiers went on liberty that afternoon, and by 10:45, when Laude met Pemberton, she'd already been with 3 clients. Jenifer was exhausted, said another friend, Charisse. We work as hard as we can when the soldiers are here. Within a few minutes of meeting, Pemberton and Laude left for the Cell Zone Lodge, a motel across the street, accompanied by Laude's friend, Barbie Galviro.
According to Elias, the cashier bellboy, Pemberton, Jenifer, and Barbie entered Selson Lodge at approximately 11:05 p.m. Elias assigned them room number 1.
Galviro stayed with the couple for a minute to help negotiate a rate. Laude suggested 5,000 pesos, but Pemberton only wanted to pay 1,000, about $25. Laude, nervous that Pemberton might discover the girls were trans, quickly agreed to the lower rate and rushed her friend out of the room. About 30 minutes after the group had arrived at the motel, Pemberton casually walked out of his room alone, leaving the door slightly ajar behind him. He seemed unperturbed as he passed the front desk and walked down the steps into the night. His curfew was rapidly approaching, and he and his shipmates needed to return together.
Elias expected that Jenifer would shortly follow, but 15 minutes have passed. No one came out of the room.
As they were about to go to sleep, Pemberton approached Rose and asked to talk to him in private. They walked over to the front of the ship, far from human ears, with only the ocean and the sky to listen. Pemberton said that he saw it had a dick. He told Rose he got so angry that he choked it from behind. I think I killed a he-she, Pemberton said.
The medical report would show that Jenifer died of asphyxia due to strangulation and drowning, and the same is reflected in her death certificate. Her entire back was black and blue.
Kung sa'yo kaya nangyari yun, baka mag-aasot ka pa! May papareceive ako eh. Sino security head nyo? Wala ba kayong head? O paano ako papasok dito? Meron ako papareceive dun sa loob. Okay mga kasama, nandito tayo to formally serve, no? Itong subpoena. Alam natin that the VFA Commission, that the DFA already served the notice to the US Embassy. Kaya lang, ang pamilya mismo ng mga Laude, ang pamilya mismo ni Jenifer, ay naghahangat, no, na personal na ma-deliver itong notice na ito dito sa mismong barkong kung nasaan si Pemberton. Insofar as the citizenry, the Filipino citizenry is concerned, this is duly served. The notice is duly served to the person of Pemberton.
Nay, handa po ba kayong harapin siya sakaling?
Oo. Handa ako. Gusto ko rin marinig kung anong dapat niya sabihin. Bakit niya nagawa?
Ngayon ho ba, lalaban ho ba ang inyong pamilya hanggang sa dulo para sa hustisya? Pwede ho ba?
Talaga po. Ilalaban ko po ng aywan ko. Hindi ko masasabi kung hanggang saan. Sana.
You cannot help this case. You cannot help the Laudes if you just know things about the killing, if you just know things about the murder. Because it's not a simple case of murder.
The police station. Then I will have to, check it one by one against.
The relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines is really a relationship between a colonizer and a colony or a neo-colony.
This is the story of the Philippines, a nation of islands on the eastern rim of the vast Pacific Ocean. Discovered over 400 years ago by the explorer Magellan, the Philippines were ruled by the Spaniards for more than 200 years.
We are a colony of the United States. We were purchased allegedly from Spain. We were said to have been granted independence, but in exchange, we've had to agree that U.S. bases will remain in the Philippines.
The VFA stands for Visiting Forces Agreement. This VFA really comes into play in this case because it treats about how the Philippines should treat the U.S. soldiers.
What exactly is legal hold? It may be one of the best things we have in the Philippines. Legal hold means that if you're charged with a crime under local laws, you'll be turned over to U.S. authorities rather than left in a local lockup.
Put it this way, it would be unthinkable for a foreign soldier to commit murder in America and not be apprehended by U.S. police and not be tried by U.S. courts. But what's happened in this case is we have an instance where an American Marine
committed a non-service related offense. And number one, he remains in the custody of American soldiers. Number two, he was never physically investigated by Philippine authorities. And number three, his attendance in court proceedings is a matter of cooperation with American authorities rather than as part of mandatory judicial proceedings.
With the VFA, it's like the Filipinos are being served in a silver platter. Here are the Philippines, kill them. Here are the Filipinas, rape them. Because even if you are convicted, your custody will be transferred to the U.S. Embassy. It's like you're free.
It's a wrap for U.S. President Barack Obama. The U.S. reached a 10-year defense deal to allow more U.S. troops in the Philippines.
As the U.S. is now trying even to expand its presence in the Philippines through the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, the bigger question is, what's in it for the Filipinos?
To our Filipino Armed Forces, thank you for being such an outstanding ally. God bless the Republic of the Philippines. God bless the United States of America. God bless the alliance between our great nations. Thank you.
Ang hirap nang nawalan ka ng kapatid kasi nakasanayan mo na siya, nakasama mo. Tapos, yung mawawala siya sa'yo na hindi naman inaasahan.
Ano to mo?
Ulam.
Kind of ulam.
Si Jenifer, like niyang magluto lagi. Yun yung hilig niya, magluto. Then, kanta-kanta, mahilig siyang kumanta. Bless ka na?
No.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Ingat.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Basta ang point lang naman namin dito ay mabigyan ng justice ang kapatid ko. Baka maulit-ulit. Kasi ganun din for sure ang mararating ng anak ko. Kasi sa ngayon nakikita ko na gay siya. Tanggap ko naman din siya gaya ng pagtanggap ng mother ko kay Jenifer. So ganun din ang ginawa ko sa anak ko, tinanggap ko siya. At lahat ng kaya kong gawin na pagsusuporta sa kanya, susuportahan ko siya. Huwag siyang matulad sa kapatid ko kasi ang hirap mawalan ng anak. Ano panaginip mo?
Saan daw tayo mo? Nasa night market. Pagkatingin namin sa tabi namin si Auntie Jane.
Si Auntie Jane mo?
Tapos, bigla ko
Ano suot na damit ng Auntie Jane mo?
naka-red siya.
Naka-red?
Tuwang-tuwa daw ako.
Sa 23 pahinang resolusyong inilabas ng Olongapo City Prosecutor's Office, nakitaan ang probable cause upang sampahan ang kasong murders US Marine Joseph Scott Pemberton kaugnay ng pagkamatay ni Jeffrey Laude. Dahil dito muling iginiit ng mga kongresista na sa lalong madaling panahon ay dapat nang makuha ng Pilipinas ang kustudiya sa Amerikanong sundalo. Ang pinangangambahan ni Deputy Minority Leader Nery Colmenares, kung hindi agad matatapos ang paglilitis sa kaso makalipas ang 1 taon ay maaaring makalaya at makabalik si Pemberton sa United States.
I mean, that is really not only unjust to the family of Laude, but also unjust to the Filipino people.
Let me see the documents. Oo. The entire documents. And then,
Tapos ito na po.
oo, yung... The report is very frustrating. And it really is very contradictory doon sa report ng the American expert or the world's expert. We're talking about the Kama Sutra condom wrapper, which was found inside the CR, and then was taken by the American. Remember, our Filipino police authorities was unable to get that Kama Sutra condom wrapper.
Kaso sila lang ang
It was only the American authorities, the NCIS agent, who got hold the Kama Sutra condom wrapper, not our authorities. That is very frustrating.
In my family, I'm the only one who's able to finish college. My father is a tricycle driver and my mother does not have regular work. He's a typical father who thinks that daughters need not go to college. After all, they'll just get married. I was telling myself, no, I have to finish. I have to reach college. I have to be able to do something to help the family.
A lot of people would think that murder is always premeditated. There are other two elements, the abuse of superior strength and the cruelty. And that's the reason why they have been, saying that after all, Jenifer is a trans, but he is still a man. The Marines, yes, they have training, but they only spend a few hours in actual military training. That is to weaken our allegation that there is some kind of abuse of superior strength. And definitely there is no doubt that a Marine, an elite force, certainly has that superior strength over every other individual. Because if not, what difference does a U.S. Marine soldier make? If, in this case, Pemberton gets convicted, and then after that, he will be incarcerated not in the Philippines, my goodness, that will all the more show how lopsided this VFA agreement is. Jenifer is dead. Nothing can beat that. Nothing can change that. Jenifer is dead. Who killed Jenifer? A lot of evidence points to Pemberton.
Who else do you want to sing? You want to do Lady Gaga?
Sure. Poker Face, Born This Way.
Oh yeah, I like Poker Face. When did you arrive?
I can't even remember anymore. Oh, I went to a Long Patu interview. You know, to just actually not really interview, but just like catch up with Jamil and Charisse and Barbie.
What's she doing now? What is
She's still in Olongapo. She's, you know, like doing the same thing. They call it freelancing. I think they're still, in a lot of ways, like processing what happened. It's this interesting thing where they have to deal with their feelings and their fears.
I hope that you can attend one of the hearings in Congress or the Senate. There's been a lot of movement towards getting anti-discrimination laws in both houses. Yeah. So every time the lawyers would, or sponsoring the bills, their bills now, would mention that they're doing that for Jenifer Laude. So it's really nice. This issue put a spotlight on our community, and we actually consider this a watershed moment in the history of the Philippine transgender movement, because for the first time, people are seeing us. Transgender people have always been part of the history of this country, and that goes back to pre-colonial times. We saw that in the Babaylan Chronicles, which are documents written by Spanish priests. And they took note of male-bodied people who carried themselves as women. They worked as spiritual leaders of their communities, who were known as the Babaylan. Catholicism and the establishment of religion worked so that my kind of people were slowly pushed into the margins of society. How the church vanquished the Babaylan or the shaman, it had to make the Babaylan someone scary, and so called her a witch or an aswang. We were othered by the church. Our bodies are not acceptable. Our identities are not acceptable. We've been forced to be part of niche industries like the beauty industry or the sex industry. The transgender movement itself has to work to eradicate the notion that you need to sell your body in order to survive. In the meantime, a lot of my trans friends are actually doing sex work, and they're saying that it's survival sex work, and I completely understand that.
Your first time in a foreign country can be quite an ordeal if you let it. Here in the Philippines, you'll find a lifestyle that's different from life in America. With a little knowledge of what this assignment is like before you get here, though, it can be a richly rewarding experience.
We know for a fact that whenever there's increased military presence in a certain country, it always encourages the selling of bodies for sexual services. It encourages the exploitation of women, girls, female identified, so that includes transgender women. If you're a trans woman, all the doors close to you. I mean, you're not welcome to certain establishments, you're discriminated in school, you're discriminated at work, you're discriminated in public, and even in your private life.
Whether or not Jenifer Laude was a sex worker is something that only Jenifer Laude can answer.
The U.S. serviceman accused of killing transgender woman Jenifer Laude faces prosecutors as his trial begins today.
Pemberton's lawyers didn't confirm whether their client will take the witness stand or if a plea bargain agreement is being considered.
Nay, halika na. Mamaya pa na yung hearing natin, di ba? Ang hearing natin, ano pa? 1 o'clock pa. Talagang si nanay ni Pemberton ang witness ngayon. O LDC, ang pangalan niya, Lisa Pemberton. No, Lisa Pemberton. Kaya, importante, I'm sure, nanay, pagkakaguluhan niya ng media. No? Kasi kung napansin niyo, for the longest time, hindi naman nagpapa-interview ang defense. Di ba? Dalawang bagay yan na yan. I mean, to get the people's sympathy, to get the media's sympathy. Siyempre, talagang inaasahan mong idedeklara niya mabait. Pero, di ba, nanay, ikaw din ay nanay. Tapos sasabihin niyo nga yun, di ba, nay, mabuti pa nga siya. Diba, mabuti pa siya.
Kasi nga
buhay
siya,
ang anak niya.
Dumating man nga makulong siya, lalabas at baka kasama siya.
Nanay, excited na rin at gusto niya malaman nga ang mga kasagutan sa napakadami niyang mga katanungan. No? Pangalawang linggo na niya na lumuwas galing Leyte at inaasahan niya na magpipresenta nga ng ebidensya ngayon ng akusado.
Pang-apat na araw na ito, no, na walang pinipresentang ebidensya, no, hindi rin madali para kinanay ang lumuwas mula sa Leyte papunta dito, na magastos din yon para sa kanya. Kaya inaasahan sana talaga niya ngayon na makikita niya ang ebidensya, maririnig niya. Finally, ano ang dahilan, diba, ni Pemberton? Bakit ito nagawa ni Pemberton? At ano ba talaga ang contrary evidence nila?
at ang ating pagkamamamayan sa nagaganap na mga paglilitis. Hindi binukas sa publiko ang paglilitis. Maging sa mga kaibigan nating media, hindi pinayagan na ito ay i-cover.
Well, wala na naman pong pagdinig na nangyari. Wala pong ebidensya ang akusado dahil sa kung ano ng mga technicality. Ang sa amin po, 1 taon lang po ang binibigay ng BFA para matapos ito. At pagkatapos niyan, po pwede nang umalis ang Pilipinas itong si Pemberton. Naaabala na po kami dahil patapos na po ang Agosto at meron na lang pong 4 na buwan natitira. No?
Saan po natin na makapagpahayag ang ating kababayan at hindi lang kababayan, ang mismong ina, Jenifer Laude.
Gusto ko lang sanang itanong, bakit hanggang ngayon, paulit-ulit, laging postpone? Wala kaming sagot kung ano, kung hanggang kailan kami maghihintay. Para atang wala namang mangyayari pag ganito. Hindi lang sa, porque hindi kami puti. Hindi kami mga Amerikano, hindi kailangan bigyan tulong. Paano kaya kami mahirap? Wala lang, okay lang na ngayon. Baka na naman sa susunod, hindi na si Jeffrey ang papatayin. Bakit Jeffrey na naman iba ang alagito? Hindi ako mapayag. Yan lang po ang masasabi ko.
Oy, Gorgie! Lagyan mo naman ng tita.
Para i-remember natin. Magka-countdown tayo para kay Jenifer Laude.
Kaya hindi na siya kaya bubuhay na siya.
Para mabubuhay na siya. Hindi na siya mabubuhay.
Patay na nga siya.
Oo, patay na siya. Pero, kahit na patay na siya, diba? Kailangan natin ng alam mo ba yung hustisya? Alam mo yung hustisya? Ano yung hustisya?
Hindi ko alam.
Hindi mo alam. Pag may hustisya, hindi siya mabubuhay. Pero, pag walang hustisya, naku, patay tayo doon. Hindi lang si Jenifer ang patay, lahat tayo patay.
There are many differences in our lives, but the one thing that we do have in common is that trans experience. If the circumstances were different, our lives could have totally been reversed and I could be in her situation.
Sabi ko para sa sarili ko.
Nanang Julita, she had this sort of like habit of putting her arm around me and we would talk confidentially together.
Ngayon, nung namatay siya, wala kami mautukot, wala kami.
In a way, I am kind of a manifestation of what she hoped for Jenifer. You know, that I'm the person who is trans, who has moved to a foreign country and has made a good life for myself. Meron kayong tindahan?
Hindi.
Ano yun?
Kulot, nag-i-straight, nagkukulay, lahat.
She would say something like, "You'd be even more beautiful if you put on more makeup like Jenifer." She also called me ganda.
Samantala noon, nandoon pa si Ganda. Sige. Salamat din doon sa tulong mo.
Okay lang. Okay lang po. Sige po.
Salamat po sa inyong lahat. Isa pong maalab na pagbati sa atin. Ako po si Naomi Fontanos at pinagmamalaki ko na ako ay isang Pilipina, isang babae, at isang transgender. Gusto ko pong ipaabot sa pamilya ni Ganda na hindi po nasayang ang sakripisyong buhay ni Jenifer Laude. Dahil sa kanyang kamatayan, isiniwalat niya ang katotohanan ng karahasan base sa kasarian na nararanasan natin dito sa ating lipunan. Isiniwalat din ng pagkamatay ni Ganda ang baluktot at inutil na mga kasunduan sa pagitan ng ating pamahalaan at ng Estados Unidos. gusto ko pong sabihin sa inyong lahat na ang pagkamatay po ni Jenifer Laude ay nagdala po sa amin ng pag-asa. Dahil sana ito po ay magdulot ng pagbabago sa ating lipunan.
At nagpapasalamat ako sa lahat na tumutulong sa aking anak na hanggang ngayon wala pa rin akong kasagutan sa tinatanong ko sa aking sarili. Na kung bakit siya pa. Pero dahil dito sa maraming tumutulong sila ako ni lahat niya dito. Nabubuhay din ako ng loob. Kaya lahat dito sa Kilusan, kila Atty. Suarez, sa Atty. Harry. Salamat po at higit sa lahat sa Panginoon dahil tayong lahat na lumalaban.
A day before testifying in the Olongapo Regional Trial Court, Lisa Pemberton visited her youngest son, Lance Corporal Joseph Pemberton.
Very difficult. He's always been our angel. I know Joseph would rather die for his country than be in this situation.
Mrs. Pemberton denies her son is angry with members of the gay community. She explains Joseph has been exposed to the issue since he grew up with a sister who was a member of the LGBT community.
His own sister is lesbian, getting married next month. He was supposed to be the best man in the wedding.
She says she can empathize with the Laude family for the loss of their loved one.
I feel very sorry for their loss and what they've had to go through.
Para magkakaroon kayo ng dialogue kung dalawang ina, no? Yung ina ng biktima at ina ng nasasaktan. Ganun lang sa mga deklarasyon natin, linawin natin kung sinong biktima at kung sinong nasasaktan. Iisa lang ang biktima rito.
This is Lisa.
Sino doon?
Humihiga. Ba't naman hindi man lang sila makakalaabot?
At gaya ng inaasahan namin, sinabi niya bilang isang ina na napakabait ni Joseph Pemberton at di siya mapaniwala sa mga paratang sa kanya. Hindi po siya nagbigay ng ebidensya na hindi ginawa ni Joseph Pemberton ang pagpatay na ito.
Yung hindi niya ma-accept siya sa sarili niya na yung anak niyang pinagmamalaki niyang mabait, pumatay pala.
In this case, there's a 30-minute gap wherein the room where Laude was totally unsecured. We cannot say that it was, Pemberton who killed Laude.
When he left Laude in the bathroom, Laude was still alive. So now, since Laude is dead, probably the question is, who killed Laude?
Obviously, there's somebody who on the internet who's invested in humanizing him in that specific way, and he's presenting him as this all-American guy, which he is. He has that image, right? They know that he's from New Bedford. Pemberton's sister is a lesbian, and so like he's not antipathetic towards LGBT people. Rather than this Marine who is raised in a culture of LGBT phobia, it makes him more complex than that. There's also a lot invested in making Joseph Scott Pemberton into this monster. Even if somebody is outwardly thinking that they don't have these views against trans people, especially trans women, there's all of this sort of like surrounding environmental and societal messages that they're receiving that would lead them to these types of actions.
Still in the Philippines, the camp of the slain transgender Filipina Jenifer Laude denied reports that they are pushing for a deal for 38 million pesos and 6 U.S. visas in exchange for dropping the murder case against U.S. Marine Joseph Scott Pemberton. The denial followed reports that Pemberton's lawyer, Rowena Flores, received new demands from the Laude's family in exchange for dropping the case.
There is no truth to that allegation. At ulitin ko ulit, there was never a time that the Laudes ever entertained dropping the case for any amount.
So, kinaklarify ko po sa ating lahat, sana naman po, wag nyo naman po kaming husgahan ng sobra kasi ipit na po kami at sobra na po kaming nahihirapan sa ganitong sitwasyon. So, ang nangyayari po, napakasama na po namin talagang pamilya na hindi naman pala justice ang kailangan namin kundi pera. So ever since hindi po kami ng pera, nagdi-demand. So ano po yung pinagsisigawan namin sa pamilya ko? Justice po para sa kapatid ko.
I don't really care that much what happens to Pemberton because, you know, I accept that what will happen to Pemberton is a political decision. But what I can't accept is that the further humiliation of the family, the further disrespect, the further dishonoring on Jenifer, because, you know, she was not political. Pemberton probably is political, but Jenifer never was. It was never her intention to be, you know, be part of any political crap like this.
For the first time since being accused in the killing of Filipino transgender Jenifer Laude on October 11, 2014, U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Pemberton testified in court as a defense witness in his own murder trial. Thinking that they were real women, he said he accepted their offer of checking in at the Cellzone Lodge Motel to have paid sex. Barbie performed oral sex on Pemberton, then immediately left the room. After a few minutes, Jenifer did the same to Pemberton, but when he wanted more, he was surprised to find out Jenifer was also a man like himself.
He said he felt that he was being raped. He was so repulsed and so disgusted because he did not give his consent to allow a man to do that to him.
Pemberton acted only in defense of his life and honor.
Kaya lang to ng pamahirap. Pinasundo na lang ako na attorney diyan sa driver. Siguro mga 9, 10 o 15 ako nakarating doon. Pagpasok ko, pagbungad ko, nakita ko kagad si Pemberton. Parang halos hindi ako makaano nung pagpasok ko pa lang, nanginginig na ako. Hindi na lang diretso kasi aminin para tapos. Sabi mo yan.
Tapos umamin siya pero pinipilit niyang lagyan ng dahilan. Naglalagay sila ng doubt, Nay, para mag-doubt yung judge at para sabihin na gano'n. Talagang to, Nay, gusto nilang paikutin yung buong nangyari.
A verdict is expected tomorrow in the Loudoun murder case, and if it is a conviction, the Olongapo court will have to determine where U.S. Marine serviceman Joseph Scott Pemberton will be detained.
We are confident that the court will acquit our client. We believe that there is reasonable doubt. Barbie was not an eyewitness. He didn't see anybody killed.
Okay, Nay, ito na po yung araw na hinihintay ninyo. Ano ho ang pakiramdam?
Para sa akin, una sa lahat, pasalamat ako sa Diyos, pero ang lakas ng ano ko, ang lakas ng pananalig ko na mananalo ako. Tayo.
Kung sakali pong hindi, Nay, kunyari, magbaba ng homicide o kaya ma-acquit.
Parang hindi
Handa
naman,
po ba kayo?
parang hindi naman din maganda siguro. Na gano'n ang magiging resulta. Pag nagkataon na nangyayari na gano'n, pwedeng ulit-ulitin pa rin ng mga Amerikano pag gano'n ang mangyayari na walang mangyayari.
Si Harry will no longer come here, he'll go straight to the church.
Conviction for Pemberton. Yun lang ang tanging paraan para magkaroon ng hustisya ang pamilya Laude.
Okay.
We are an independent country, therefore he should be detained in a Philippine jail.
Ngayong ika-isa ng Disyembre, hinihintay natin ang desisyon ng korte. Ibig sabihin, mahigit isang taon na tayong kumikilos at nagigipaglaban para makamtan ang karapatan para kay Jenifer Laude na isa ding transgender na babae o isang babaeng transgender na katulad ko. Dahil isinasabuhay sa pagkamatay ni Jenifer kung gaano kasidhi ang diskriminasyon laban sa mga transgender dahil sa kanilang kasarian.
The accused admits the infliction of the injury and the burden of the evidence consequently shifts to him.
Nakikisa kami sa inyong lahat sa ating pagkilos ngayong araw at pinapasalamatan ko kayo. Lumalaban din kami sa kapitalismo. Inalamanan din namin ang rasismo, ang seksismo at ang militarismo. Dahil ang laban para sa karapatang pantao ng mga taong transgender ay laban para sa hustisyang panlipunan.
I request the honor that the accused to stand up for the dispositive portion.
Dapat na minaragayway namin ang transplant sa araw na ito upang sabihin kayong lahat na hindi nyo kami mapapatay at hindi nyo kami mabubura.
Wherefore, judgment is rendered, finding accused Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton guilty beyond reasonable doubt of the crime of homicide and sentencing him to suffer the indeterminate sentence of 6 years of prison correctional as minimum and 12 years of prison mayor as maximum. It bears emphasizing that the confinement or detention must be by Philippine authorities, and it shall be carried out in facilities agreed on by appropriate Philippine and United States authorities. If the confinement or detention of accused Pemberton should be by Philippine authorities, then she should be confined or detained in the New Bilibid prison. He is considered as national prisoner.
Dismayado po ang pamilya ni Jenifer Jeffrey Laude na ibinabasa homicide ang kaso laban kay Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton.
Oh my goodness. This is not, of course, a complete justice, but we have to recognize that there is victory here. I commend the judge dun sa may ruling niya na dapat ikulong si Pemberton. He is considered a national prisoner.
Hindi nasayang yung pinaglaban namin na makakulong siya. Hindi nasayang ang buhay ng anak na hindi niya mapagpapayaran.
Mala stand-off yung nangyari dahil matapos nga pong ipag-utos ng korte na dalhin sa New Bilibid prisons itong si Joseph Scott Pemberton ay hindi ito pinagbigyan ng kanyang US security. At yung usapin ngayon na pinag-uusapan sa taas because there are 11 US Amerikano doon sa taas. Members ng Regional Pacific Command, ng NCIS, ng US Embassy, napakadami, and they're all now discussing that parang ayaw nga give up si Pemberton dahil our policemen are likewise ready na dalhin na ngayon si Pemberton sa Bilibid. Kaya ngayon medyo may kaguluhan doon.
Pemberton was surrounded by 2 layers of security. In the inner circle are U.S. servicemen, while in the outer circle are Philippine authorities.
Maganda kasi ever si Pemberton, nakapaligid puro Amerikano, ito yung ating mga kapulisan.
I guess that motion is frivolous and dilatory. Pinipilit lang i-delay ang pagkuha ng ating kapulisan dito kay Pemberton para dalhin sa Bilibid.
Just got an information from a source present in the courtroom that the court has called for a session to hear the motion of the defense to clarify the order of the court.
Sa isang pahayag, sinabi ng Department of Justice na sa Camp Aguinaldo dadalhin si Pemberton kung saan ito mananatili hanggang matapos ang apela at magkaroon ng final decision ang kaso. The fact that they are still refusing na i-surrender si Pemberton sa ating mga kapulisan, that is total disrespect to our nation and to the entire Filipino nation and to our judiciary and legal system. How can the DOJ make such an opinion which is really contrary to the decision of the court, diba? Yes, nakakalungkot. Parang saan ka naman ang aasa if your own Department of Justice, diba, fails to give you justice?
Did the verdict surprise you at all in any way?
You know, it not surprises me. For me, it was very clear from the beginning that Pemberton would not serve any day in Philippine trial, whatever comes. What is the reason to give him a special treatment no one else in the world would get?
Well, obviously the reason is that they know that whatever they do is setting a precedent, and they don't want to be put in a position where American military service members are in danger when they're overseas, and so they're not going to be able to guarantee his safety in Philippine prison.
If you go to jail in America, regardless of your nationality or whatever, you go to a regular jail. You don't get a special treatment. You have to pay the consequences on what you did, referring to the location and the law you are under.
Traffic.
Grabe.
Sino mga darating ngayon?
Ang sabi lang ni Naomi, medyo malilate siya.
Hello. Ayos naman. Kagagaling ko lang na Olongapo kahapon eh. Kasi nga. Ay, naman. No.
So, ano yung, natin? Nabasa ko yung
The defense will have be filing their appeal tomorrow. Sa Court of Appeals yon. And then, tomorrow, we'll be filing a criminal case, yung, disobedience to a lawful order of the court. And then, we're planning to file a petition. Petition to before the Supreme Court. Again, attacking the Visiting Forces Agreement. And the government will never allow na ang isang sundalo Amerikano ay makonvict for a murder. It will be difficult for them na. Kaya alam mo talaga na hanggang lang. I mean, and so far as is, walang, sa kanya there is no cruelty, sa kanya there is no abuse of superior strength. In fact, in-question pa rin niya. Even assuming there is superior strength, abuse should be proved.
Anong Biden damages?
The damages? Wala pa, because they are on appeal, everything becomes literally suspended. Again, we're working against the system here, di ba?
Because there's no second-degree murder
in the Philippines,
which is really weird to me, because I think usually in the States, for it to be first-degree murder, it has to be premeditated, right?
That's true.
So that's sort of the, and it's weird that doesn't, does manslaughter exist in
No, it doesn't,
Philippine law?
yeah. But again, the way the judge wrote the verdict was such that she was making all these excuses in the guise of mitigating circumstances, saying that, well, he was drunk, it was like a crime of passion, and so, well, we can forgive him for that. Standoff was crazy right after the verdict was read, and then Americans refused to give him up to the local police.
It kind of shows that the Americans aren't running everything, it's not completely orchestrated.
Oh, please, Meredith, come on.
Well,
of course they were running the show.
No, I just mean...
That was how I felt. I mean, the DOJ is answerable to the Visiting Forces Agreement.
All I mean is that it was a surprise to the Americans that the order was for him to go to Bilibid.
But that's like a little capitulation on the part of the judge. Because when it was read, when the entire verdict was read, we felt like the judge was keeping both parties happy. She convicted him of a crime that was of a lower degree than murder, when it was so clear as daylight that it was freaking murder.
But the fact that they weren't prepared for him to, for the custody thing to happen was really fascinating to me from a journalistic perspective,
Oh, I would ask you to disabuse yourself of that notion, because America as a superpower is in control of this. And I'm so happy that I'm having this conversation with you, because now as an American person who has Filipino lineage, you have your foot on the Philippines and your foot in America. And you are now in a position to tell this story and to be honest about the unequal power relations between our countries. That's really the culprit. It all goes back to that. I mean, Jenifer's death is a result of continued American imperialism in the Philippines. There is no denying that.
Yeah.
New at 5:30 tonight, a New Bedford Marine in jail for killing a transgender Filipino is asking a judge to overturn his conviction. The court will start to hear Pemberton's appeal on Thursday.
The aftermath of a U.S. Marine's conviction in the death of a Philippine trans woman. It's close to midnight in early December on Waterfront Road in Olongapo, Philippines. Dimly lit by yellow tungsten lamps, women's figures in tight clothing walk down the street, shadows covering their faces. U.S. service members used to be able to roam around the area outside the former base during their leisure time, but since Laudet's death last year, the U.S. military has confined service members to the Freeport. A young woman with hair halfway down her back walks alone on Waterfront. Her figure is slim and taller than most of the girls on the street.
Ikaw ba pagka ikaw nagtatrabaho, sinasabi mo kung ano?
I take my customers here as she gestures towards the darkness beyond the road. Roseanne claims she's 17, but her voice hasn't noticeably dropped. Even though Pemberton killed Laude after finding out that she was trans, Roseanne insists that she needs to keep her transgender status from U.S. service members who pay her for sex.
Siyempre, kaya kailangan sabi ko, babae ako para makuha mo ko. Diba?
In the verdict's aftermath, local officials and residents are eager for U.S. troops to come back and bring money into the city as they once did.
We're looking forward to normalize our relationship with U.S. servicemen that are expected to arrive in Olongapo.
Locals have even accused the Laudes of being selfish by not settling the case early. By having gone to trial, the liberty privileges for U.S. troops remain suspended, which in turn has directly led to hundreds, if not thousands, of locals losing their sources of income.
Just imagine some businessmen estimate to lose about 20 million pesos in business opportunities because the Americans are not having their liberty or their rest of the commercial activity.
We expect that liberty will resume now that Pemberton has been convicted, Cortez says. Jenifer's mother, Julita Laude, sits on a brown floral print couch. Despite the conviction, she is far from satisfied. Other locals express a mixture of sympathy and rejection when it comes to the presence of transgender sex workers in Olongapo. A souvenir vendor on Waterfront Road says that he is indifferent to the Pemberton verdict and wishes only that full liberty would resume so that ordinary people in Olongapo can have income.
May mga dumadaong po, pero hindi na po yung mga pure American.
So ikaw, ano ba? Anong feeling within sa verdict?
For me, para sa akin, kahit pa paano nabigyan naman ng katarungan yung pagkamatay niya bilang isang kaibigan.
Down the street, a female bystander sitting on a nearby park bench shouts back, "Transgenders need to be kicked out of Olongapo." Another taxi driver replies, "Your words hurt too much. Those are our fellow Filipinos." Roseanne is worried about people identifying her and finding out she's a sex worker. Her mother is not aware that she is doing sex work. According to the young woman, she thinks I'm just looking for a handsome boyfriend who will take me to America. As Roseanne continues to roam the streets of Olongapo at night, she has to believe that she will encounter men like Jenifer's fiancé and not a man like the kind who ended Jenifer's life.
I think all the Filipinos wanted to have that big change. And I think he's the number one candidate who's running for presidency.
I know he can do what he promised, that substantial changes will happen the next 6 months.
The headline confirms it. Rodrigo Duterte will be the new president of the Philippines.
He captured domestic and international attention with speeches peppered with obscene jokes about sex and rape, and for undiplomatic remarks about some key players in the country's politics, including Australia, the United States, and China.
Dito sa kabila, ito ang makinig kayo, Amerikano. Bugokski. America, prepare to leave the Philippines. Prepare for the eventual repeal or the abrogation of the Visiting Forces Agreement.
On this day 2 years ago, transgender woman Jenifer was found dead in a motel room in Subic, Zambales. Now, U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton, who was found guilty of killing Laude, is detained in a facility in Quezon City.
Behind this fence is a detention facility for Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton. No movement can be detected in the facility. Space between the two cargo containers converted into rooms is covered with tarpaulin. Guards from the Bureau of Corrections manning the facility are nowhere in sight. The Court of Appeal still has to rule on Pemberton's appeal. The Laude family continues to seek justice for Jenifer.
The family would like to put an end to this case also, because for as long as there is an appeal, the appeal prolongs their agony.
Isa lang naman po yung gusto namin, yung makita po talaga si Pemberton sa New Bilibid Prison, yun lang naman po.
Ayaw nilang dalhin sa AFP Custodial Center dahil wala raw aircon, walang sariling kusina. Ano ba naman yan? Siya ay kriminal, dapat siya sa jail at hindi sa military facility. No? Ang pinaglalaban namin ngayong araw na ito ay dapat sundin ang mga legal na pag-uutos ng ating mga hukumang Pilipino dahil yung pagsunod sa pag-uutos ng korte ay pagrespeto sa soberenya ng ating bayan.
November 21, dating dito, isang puti na Amerikano nga, sabi niya, siya daw si George Tam o ano nga, basta yun ang sabi niya. Tapos, galing daw siya ng US, siya daw mismo ang nagfollow up kasi naawa daw siya sa amin dahil kami mahirap lang. So, ang kanya din daw, mahirap din daw yung pinanggalingan niya. So, ang buhay daw namin, kinukonsider din niya sa sarili niya na nag-offer siya kanyang automatic na hindi daw may-useless lahat ang pinaglaban ko. Kasi nga, itong si Pemberton, itong July, makakalaya na, mapaparol na. Doon ako parang natakot. Ay, ito yung binigay sa Amerikano ni, ni George Tam. Pirmahan ko daw to para automatic na yung danyos daw nga 4,605,000 automatic maibigay sa akin. Sinabi ko talaga, hindi ako nakaka-intindi ng korta. Huwag mo ipapakita kay Bertie o kay Roque. Bakit? Ano palang mayroon dito? Basta lang kasi ikaw naman ang magdidesisyon.
The U.S. government's position is they will pay if there's finality to the case. And finality meant Pemberton should be allowed to go back to the United States. So this was a very clear instance where the U.S. government took advantage of poverty in attempting to release one of their Marines from incarceration arising from a criminal conviction.
Nakita na kami doon sa opisina ni Atty. Roque. I-wait mo lang daw kami, mga alas 3 ng hapon, dahil pupunta kami kay Duterte, kay President. Huwag ka mag-alala, 2 taon ka namin suportahan sa pangangailangan nyo. Natuwa ko. Kasi sabi ni Digong, ngayon lang daw nangyari na pinaglaban ang kaso. 220,000 tulong ni Duterte. Hindi galing kung saan, kay Duterte talaga.
President Duterte is the very first president that advocated for an independent foreign policy. I stand solidly behind him that the presence of U.S. troops in the Philippines is a blatant violation of our sovereignty, is a holdover from the colonial times, and should finally end.
I am a president of a sovereign state, and we have long ceased to be a colony.
New England trip. Hot summer day, no one on the road. Creek restaurant, regulars. Are these people aware of who Joseph Scott Pemberton is? Plan for today. Go to Robin Street, home address. It's at a curve in the road. Simple wooden fence. Very modest house. Working class family. Greater New Bedford Technical Vocational School. Far from the famous schools of Boston. Boston, Harvard or MIT. I wonder what this high school taught Pemberton about LGBT people. Cement grounds, uniform green grass. Had Pemberton ever had a girlfriend before? Fresh, unlike the salty air of Olongapo. Joseph Scott Pemberton grew up close to the water and dreamed of being someplace open. Isn't that why so many young men join the military? Nancy, he did it. He's guilty. That's it. Let's think about forgiveness. If he spends 30 years in jail, he won't have any life left when he comes back. Do you happen to live in New Bedford?
I live in New Bedford?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing a story about Joseph Scott Pemberton. I was wondering if you've heard of the case.
But she was a female. He killed her. I mean, he killed him.
I can see oil trails that remind me of oil slicks in Olongapo. How do you feel about Jenifer na ngayon na mga matagal-tagal na, na mga 2 taon na? So,
Kaya pa din, pero yung, alam mo yun, hindi na ganun kaganda yung eksena. Kasi nga, sa kalsada nakuha, bakla na, ganun. Ganun kagad yung...
Pero 2 months ago, panalo, winner. Yung mga foreigner, di ba? Sa barko din yun. Lalo na ngayon, grabe yung discrimination. Lalo ako.
Yeah.
Parang ngayon ko naranasan yung nadadown, yung emotion, lalo na
Right.
pag dinidiscriminate, mostly sa lugar in public.
Right.
Sakit. Mostly sa relasyon lang. Ba't hindi ako naging tunay na babae?
Pero lagi namin sinasabi, tuloy pa din.
The president is winding up his trip to Asia in the Philippines, his last stop before returning home tomorrow. He appeared to give the country's leader a pass on human rights.
President Trump grimaced through the traditional Asia summit handshake, but did not shy away from praising controversial Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. Duterte is accused of ordering death squad-style killings of thousands of Filipino drug dealers and users without trial.
His troops have killed more than 7,000 people since Duterte came to power. But he's a potential ally in the region on North Korea.
The president's visit sparking protests, riot police using water cannons to disperse the crowds. Mr. Trump winding down his Asian tour with a toast and a tribute. Duterte serenading the U.S. Commander-in-Chief with the lyrics, "You are the light in my world."
No Trump, no BFA, no fascist USA. No Trump, no BFA, no fascist USA. No Trump, no BFA, no fascist USA.
I was just thinking about how important this spot has been and how it was the focus of so much media and, you know, sort of Jenifer's death. There's this weird, surreal way in which it's like, did we just imagine these past 2 years, right? Like, what does it actually mean?
I always get affected when I hear of a trans person being murdered. A year ago, I also lost a friend to violence, and she's just become another statistic. She had more than 20 stab wounds. She was unrecognizable. There's a lack of justice in many trans people's lives. If members of our community are killed every day, and there is no justice in the world.
If Pemberton is acquitted, oh my goodness, that would really affect my whole belief in this judiciary or legal system. To me, it's really more than loudest case. It's our sovereignty here. It's our freedom here. It's our right to determine our own path without the intervention of a foreign power.
My community has been ravaged by violence consistently year after year. Me continuing to do my work, continuing to strive for justice and acceptance is somehow a way to commemorate her.
Drive on, my special one. Don't you stop till you know you're gone. Your sister and me have a set of keys. Don't you worry your head about a thing. Drive on, my special one. Don't you stop till you know you're gone. Drive on, my special one. Don't you stop till you know you're gone. Your sister and me will keep your place clean, so it shines when you finally come home. Drive on, my special one. Don't you stop till you know